That is General Random photobombing another one of my guides, as I've been lazy enough to not turn my notifications off. But I'll let him off because this fight is bullshit, man. I hate these fights where the commanders turn up. They turn a fight that should be extremely simple into something that's very dangerous. And you'll notice, you see all those little mini missiles that everything's firing at me now just because the commanders, and they've all got better abilities, they've all turned Super Saiyan. It's ridiculous. Cool thing to do though, if you can, at the beginning, if you charge a burst attack, if you can lock onto the commander as soon as he spawns, you can kill him before the battle starts. And it's not easy to do, but it's one of those things where the checkpoint is so close to this fight that you can definitely have a couple of goes if it's not going your way. But once again, do not turn your system off, do not quit once you've done this fight, or you'll go back to the beginning of everything we've done in this canyon. Because this is the second section of Margaritifer, and this is a commando fight against some Cyclopses. The thing with the Cyclopses is, they're not that bad. It's kind of the mantra for every enemy in this game. If you fight them correctly, and you get, I wouldn't say lucky, but they don't cheese you, everything is pretty doable. But if you come up against that one, like, dickhead, you're in trouble. You're in complete trouble, because he can just completely demobilize you. It's awful. Like, you'll do a room with 20 guys in it, and it'll be hectic, but you'll be on your game, and you know, you'll be untouchable, you'll be killing them, it's all going well. And then the next room will have one raptor in it, and he'll kill you. It's so strange. But you'll also notice we're making our way back through this territory we've already been through, but for some reason it's all rearmed now. There's enemies, there's traps and stuff. I'm not really sure what's going on. What I'm doing here is there's some Megatron. It's not Megatron, that's a Transformer. There's some Metatron down this corner, and you might as well have as much life as you can possibly get. If you don't want to pick this up, you can always try it moving forwards, and if you get into a bad situation, come back for it. But that involves, you know, backtracking quite a lot, and hopefully I'm going to try and save you from a lot of the backtracking. Because one thing I've noticed about the later levels of this game, you can skip a lot of encounters. Excuse me. And I don't know if it's a good thing, because this does have a metagame of leveling up. It is kind of RPG in that aspect, and it always makes me wonder, by skipping battles, am I shooting myself in the foot on later encounters, or will I just cover those levels as I get later on and come up against stronger enemies? Because I know when I get Zero Shift, this game becomes simple, except for Anubis, and Anubis' second form I'm not too worried about because he's actually quite fair. It's the first form that I hate, and the only reason I hate it is his burst attack. It has a homing range which is just nonsense. If you're not close to him, it hits you regardless of how much you boost, and I'm pretty good at tapping a button quite fast. I played International Track and Field, and you know, I used to break world records on that game, but you just can't evade it. Sometimes it's physically impossible. You can't block because Jehut is damaged, and you wouldn't be able to block anyway because it's a burst attack, and it literally takes off 50% of your life. So, you know, one mistake and you're one mistake away from dying. And on a fight where you have to wait for him to do that attack so that you can attack him, and you have to get a series of successful attacks to do damage, which do maybe one-tenth of his life, so you have to dodge a whole bunch of those attacks that can all, you know, in theory take you down. So I really am not looking forward to that fight. Everything else is not too bad because the Zero Shift is so powerful. And if you remember at the beginning of the guide I did mention, if you're going to start with Naked Jehut, which is the unlocked, you know, Super Saiyan mystic version of this machine, you're not going to have any issue because it's too powerful. It's power absolute. It really is. But just keep on flying back through the canyons. We're going the other way now. There's going to be these turrets. There's going to be, you know, mummy heads. There's going to be the standard entourage of dicks. Do not get too close to this machine, and if you do, make sure that you're shooting it and then you grab it. Like, if we had Wisp right now, this would be simple, because Wisp is easily becoming my favourite ability on this game. Oh wow, I brought my coffee upstairs and I've left the damn spoon in. Who does that? I feel like a savage. But yeah, there's some sections of this game. Don't get me wrong, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Even though it's the first guide I've made where I've actively swore at my television, I'm still having a lot of fun with it. And there's a part of me that wishes there were certain things different that made it slightly easier. But at the same time, I think I'm enjoying it so much because I know I'm getting bullshitted, but at the same time I know I have the skills to beat it. Oh, and by the way folks, I mentioned earlier in this commentary that I was going down into a canyon to pick up some Metatron. Turns out you're not going to see that. Just ignore that little moment of the commentary. I'm going to be grabbing it later on because I actually died and I didn't edit the video correctly. But because the commentary was decent and I'd said some stuff that I didn't really want to repeat, I've kept it in, and it's going to be a little out of context. So if you're watching the video and you're wondering what the fuck I'm on about, it probably means that there's a part of a video that I removed from that section. So just, you know, watch what I do in the video and take heed of some of the tips that I've already given. Because this section is hard, man. Those little turrets on the ground that I just killed in this area, they can do this leash where you can't move, and the amount of times I've been grabbed by that and put in a really dangerous situation is a handful. And it doesn't seem like, oh, at the time, you know, when you're killing it on itself, but if you're in a situation where you're trying to boost away from a Cyclops and it's leashing you in, you're dead. There's so many situations like that on this game where, you know, something very simple, something very small immediately takes a turn for the worst. Like, you know, when good pets go bad and it's suddenly, you know, the fight or flight reflex kicks in. A lot of this game is like that, where you're quite comfortable and then one combo takes you from full life to red and immediately shit gets serious. A little bit like what that guy just did to me. I went to slash, he dodged away and then comboed me. And you'll notice this is me going to the Metatron that I spoke about earlier, so I do apologise about that, guys. But I also played the first game on the High Def collection, and I've never been a fan of the first game. I thought it was terrible. I liked the idea, I liked the design, and I liked the concept. It's just I thought the game was boring. And when you go from this to the first one is so slow. And like, the whole flying around the hub world, never got that either. Never got how needlessly finicky all the titles for things were, where you're picking up programs and they're actually, you know, abbreviated like programs are in libraries on computers and stuff. It just seems really anal in some really strange ways. Like, some of the bosses are quite interesting. The enemies are the same, they just look a little worse. Jehoty is, you know, quite similar, but he looks worse and he moves a lot slower, and it's a much better frame rate, but that's because there's a lot less happening. And it's just dull, really dull. And I've been trying to speed my way through it, because I'm actually really looking forward to coming back and playing this game after the guide. Because I'm going to be playing on easy, I'm going to be using the most upgraded version of Jehoty, I'm going to have homing missiles, and I'm going to beat the game in record time. Because there's an achievement for getting an S rank on the game. There's also achievements for getting SS ranks in the missions, in the like survivor missions, and I know I can do it because I've already done it. I did it on the PS2, I remember, because to get the ending picture with Ken in it, I think you've got to get an S rank. And I remember speedrunning the game when I was much younger to get the different pictures. And one of them is like Dingo with his shirt off. And then the best one, I believe, is Dingo and Ken, and they're both like in the pyjamas or something ridiculous. And that's the one that is the best rank. And I know that it's not difficult either, because I've been looking at a lot of the achievement goodness me. Do you see that, guys? That is why this move is so dangerous. That is why Halberd is the worst attack on the game. How I survived that, I couldn't tell you. But these barrels are really useful for killing the cellar. They do massive damage. Think of it as just, you know, this is the equivalent of anything from Transformers that makes everything go boom. And once again, we're in a situation where we need to get rid of the mummy heads, and then we need to kite the enemies to kill the cellar. And it's difficult, guys. It's really difficult. But yeah, back to the rank stuff. The reason why I say it's easy is because you can use naked jet hutty and you can start off with homing missiles and everything. It just makes the game over in minutes. Like, you skip the cutscenes, you skip every fight, you kill bosses in seconds. It's not difficult to do, guys. It really isn't. And somebody actually mentioned on one of my videos that Zone of the Enders 1 on hard would be a much more, you know, successful guide for me to make as far as, you know, the commercial success of my channel. And he's right. He's completely right. And he knows this mainly because of the traffic that he's got for making one of the achievement guides or the trophy guides on one of the sites I frequent. But the thing with it is, like, Zone of the Enders 1, I would never do any content from that game because that game is bullshit and boring. I don't like it. I've never liked it. So, as per usual, my channel kind of is sculpted off what I enjoy and what I think other people will enjoy. There is a margin of that where I will do something I don't necessarily like, or that's not necessarily my thing, just so that I can help people, i.e. Halo. But I'm not going to do it to Zone of the Enders 1 because it's not a good game. And as far as this game is concerned, I would never do an S rank because I could never get the S rank on this difficulty, mainly because I'll have died maybe 500 times by the end of this game, maybe more, and that's probably going to have an adverse effect on your rank. And just literally the fact that getting those ranks is not that challenging. The mission ranks are a little more difficult. The Vasilia mission is a bullshit one because you have to geyser the levs so that Leo will heal them, or you can pick them up yourself and heal them. And I remember that being really finicky to get the SS rank. And I know that on the achievements there's a lot of people calling that mission bullshit, but homing missiles and, you know, zero shift. There we go again with a notification. I must have been having a bad day. That just goes to show how much I was concentrating when I was playing this. I didn't even spot the notifications. But you'll notice the cellar's dead. All I have to do is finish the rest of these enemies off, and I'm kinda low life, so I'm really nervous now because I don't want to fail. Because if I fail, I am literally back to before we even started. But luckily enough, one of these enemies, I believe... Oh no, I thought one of them had Metatron. Which I do think, you know, if one of those mummy heads that came out of the cellar, if one of those had Metatron, I don't think anybody would struggle with that section. It's just the fact that they throw enemies at you that don't heal you. And I just leveled up then, and I always assumed that leveling up gave you full heal, but apparently not. But now that we've blown up the power source, here is the obligatory commander fight, but this time it's a lot of mummy heads, and these mummy heads love to do the halberd. So the strategy is simple, but it still takes a while. Charge your burst attack to try and kill as many of them off the spawn as you can, then use Gauntlet to push them around to stop them from doing the stupid halberd attack, and as soon as you kill the commander, this becomes very simple. And then once you've done this, you're going to be moving forward into a boss fight, which I hated. Because the beginning is really strategic and fun, and then she starts using her burst attack, which completely breaks the strategy, and I couldn't dodge it. But you'll see that in the next video, guys, so thank you for watching, and you take care now.